This meeting is called to order. This meeting is called to order. City of Opa-locka Regular Commission Meeting, June 9th, 2021, 7 p.m. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes. Commissioner Taylor, invocation.
God, we thank you for bringing us together one more time in your name. God, we ask that you come upon this meeting and let us have peace. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. Madam Clerk, are there any awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements?
No, Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay, at this time, we will approve, pull any deferrals or deletions of the consent agenda. Anyone?
Madam Vice Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Manager.
I have deferrals for tonight.
Okay.
15A1, 15A2, 15A3, 15A4, 16A1 to be deferred until July 14th, regular commission meeting.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the manager's recommendations for referral?
Move it. Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Burke. The vote pass.
Commissioner Davis,
All in favor,
I'm
Madam
sorry.
Vice Mayor?
I'm sorry.
Ask for all in favor
Oh.
of the vote.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Okay. It is passed. Thank you. We will now approve the minutes for the regular commission meeting minutes, May 12th, 2001. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Commissioner Taylor. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Are there any District 1 or District 2 county commissioner reports?
No, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. We do have a public presentation by Senator Chevron Jones. He is running late. He will be here in person. So when he does arrive, we will pause the agenda, if that's okay with the commission, so that he can speak. Okay, thank you. State Representative James Bush is unable to make it, as well as Catherine Beck, State Coordinator for Florida Main Street, will not be here as well. Citizens Forum is open.
Can't hear you.
Good evening, Tarani Mitchell, 14225 Northwest 22 Place. I want to thank the commission for allowing me an opportunity to come up with, to present an idea that I have for the city. I came up with this idea because on a previous commission meeting, it was brought up that the city wants to start back hosting events. It doesn't have to be like the Arabian Nights, but it can be similar. So my daughter and I, we thought about a little something that we can host for the city, which is, we thought about maybe upcoming in November. And we thought we'd like to present this idea to the city, which we would like to name it the City of Opa-locka First Annual Grown Folks Night Out Outdoor Festival. We don't know if the city would allow, us to have something like that, but we would like to present this to you so it can go into thought. We would, consider that this would be something to start back hosting to bring our city back to life, to break the ice. So we would like to start by presenting this to the city, and hopefully you guys give it some thought to liven the city back up. We know that there's not much space, but I've spoke to a couple of people and they have ample enough space and parking for us. I know right now time is not allotted, but I can meet with you guys or send an email later describing and telling everything about the event. Also, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to an event similar to this one on August the 7th. So if anyone would be interested in going, let me know and I can get the tickets for you. I think this would be a great idea. And like I said, the key to it is we want to let it be for our grown folks. We do things for the kids throughout the year, the book bag drive, the Easter, the Christmas. So we want to do something and break the ice for the adults. So if later on in after the meeting or during the week, if you guys want to contact me for more information, I'll be more than happy to share it with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dottie Johnson, 13724 Northwest 22nd Place. I would like to commend the commission and the city manager for really an outstanding job on the progress that I'm seeing with different events, especially today with the Seniors on the Move. Great idea, and thank you for bringing some life back. Would like to also ask this commission, I don't think I previously asked this commission to really look at the educational compact. The educational compact, I put many, many years into it. I see that you have some legislation that's going to be enhanced perhaps by it. So if someone can take the championship, I'm willing to volunteer to be on whatever committee to help it done. But unless you have an educated workforce competitive, I don't see a whole lot of good jobs coming, good paying jobs coming. Thirdly, I would like to ask the commission to really, as you all move forward, to the mannerism of how we speak to each other, especially the leadership, because I've seen, and I'm very uncomfortable, and I just want to just put it out there for whatever it may mean, of how sometimes the approach of asking the manager questions that he may not have an answer to. I'm gonna put it on the record, I already met with him. And I think it's very disrespectful for no one to even comment or call for the question to halt it, because I don't think either one of you all will want that to happen to your child or to you. May God bless you and thank you very much. Great job.
We're going to pause. Thank you so much. We're going to pause to allow our senator from District 35, Senator Chevron Jones, to speak to us on some legislative updates, and we're so grateful that you're here to join us.
Thank you so much, Madam Vice Mayor, and good evening to the commission. City Manager, thank you so much for this opportunity to be able to address the commission today. First of all, I do want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be able to represent the city of Opa-locka in Tallahassee in this, even during this first legislative session. I am, if you don't mind, and Madam Vice Mayor, I'm going to go through just the legislative update, and then towards the end, I'll do a check presentation to the city of Opa-locka. I do know I saw that Representative James Bush also was supposed to be here, and like I shared with the office, that it would have been good for he and I to present the check together to the city because one thing can't happen without the other. It takes both chambers to get anything inside the budget. And so I'm grateful for the partnership that we've been able to do to work along with the House leadership and also on the Senate side to bring dollars back home to the city of Opa-locka. I think you all are well aware of a lot of the things that was going forth in the city of in Tallahassee this last legislative session. Many of the things that you hear about, that you heard on the news, it wasn't just talk, it was actually reality of what was happening with some of the legislation. May it be HB1, which impacts cities, for those cities who don't comply in that area, or whether it's Senate Bill 90, which deal with our voting laws, which will impact how we vote in the upcoming election that's coming up. In this past legislative session, we passed the largest budget that has ever been passed in Florida's history, which was a bucking $101.5 billion, which includes $169 million in tax relief. The governor did veto a great deal of dollars for projects. And although he did veto those dollars, I'm happy about the dollars through the partnership with Representative Bush and I. We were able to bring home, and that is the $1.2 million back here into the city of Opa-locka. With mid-session revisions in the state general revenue projections that gave lawmakers $2 billion more to play with for the current and coming fiscal year, we were able to find a better place to look for in the upcoming months. Back then, the state was looking at before we got into the pandemic, we were looking at about a $5.4 billion shortfall after the 2-year period because of the amount of revenue that was lost. But because of the Biden administration and the amount of dollars that they gave to the state of Florida, the legislature's budget, we're able to keep about $6 billion in reserves. And from that, $350 million of those dollars are slated to budget stabilization from the American Rescue Plan. I do want to make mention of a couple of bills that I'm happy that we brought back home as far as wins, definitely for our community. And one of those is Senate Bill 258, which we know that there's when students come into our state, we're teaching them, but because of the cost of living here in the state of Florida, many of them are leaving to go to other states, whether it's Georgia, whether it's North Carolina, whether it's others, Austin, Texas. And so we're losing good talent because there are no incentives to keep good talent here within the state. And so I'm happy that we passed Senate Bill 258, which the governor signed into his tax package, which was a tax credit program that says that if you have a company and the company that you have, you take in interns, and then you say you hire those interns after the completion of their time, you receive a tax credit for the hire of that student. And so the benefit to the business is a benefit to the child, and it's also a benefit to the state. And that is the one thing that I believe is good policy, and what we should be doing or try to do to keep good talent here within the state of Florida. Another thing that we were able to pass, one of the things that over the past 2 years that I worked on in the House was dignity for incarcerated women, was to give women who are incarcerated access to free feminine hygiene products within our system. But also we passed the dignity for incarcerated pregnant women last year, which said that women who are pregnant cannot be shackled, nor can they be placed in solitary confinement. But there was a caveat of that we did not put into the legislation, and that was allowing the inmate to share once she arrives at the facility, to share that she is pregnant. Now, once the inmate shared that she's pregnant, according to Senate Bill 1426, once she shared that she is pregnant, it now says that it requires the sentence of a pregnant woman who is convicted of a crime and sentenced to any length of incarceration, that she can now be deferred until 12 weeks after the delivery of her baby. So it means that at gestation, if the woman if it's found out after the pregnancy test at the facility, found out that she's pregnant, the judge can allow, as long as it's not a violent crime, the judge may allow her to go home to have her baby. And 12 weeks after that, he may be able to decide whether or not to either tell her to come back or to the facility to complete her term, or whether or not he or she, the judge, can say that there was already time served. Another piece of legislation that we were able to work along with the House and Senate administration with the Urban Gun Violence Task Force, which only allowed for currently now a year to be able to look at evidence-based approaches and how we can study gun violence within the Black community. As you all know, you see what is happening across South Florida right now with the senseless killings that has occurred, which means that what we just passed this last legislative session is just not long enough, and it's just not enough. And so as much of a fight that we have been in with the Republican colleagues, I had the opportunity to speak with Senate President Simpson because I believe that the task force definitely need to be statewide, giving the governor some leverage, giving the Senate President and also the House Speaker some leverage to be able to pick people within this task force and allow it to be able to sunset after 5 years, the same way as they did with the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas task force, where they were able to look at evidence-based approaches when it came to school safety. We're asking for the same thing within our community for us to, that's me? I'm good? Okay, to be able to study what is happening with gun violence within our community at the same time. The last two things I'll make mention of, and I've spoken with Commissioner Davis and Vice Mayor to be able to do a larger town hall meeting with the city of Opa-locka to talk about Senate Bill 90, which is the new voting bill, and also to speak about HB 1 and the effects on our community. But I'll start with SB 90 to let you all know that that is going to have a huge effect on how we vote in the upcoming election. And I'll even put some highlights out there. And again, I will get with the both of you, because I did reach out to you for us to do a larger town hall meeting about it. The biggest thing is the ballot boxes. The new provision now says that instead of the ballot boxes being as accessible as they were in the last during the last election, now the ballot boxes are only open they have to be operated by 9 to 5. Knowing that, especially within our community, blue collar workers are at work at 9 o'clock, even before 9 o'clock, and they don't get off until 5 o'clock and sometimes later, which will avoid individuals from being able to turn their ballots in. Along with that is also an ID problem, telling individuals that they must have their ID to be able to turn in their ballot. It totally disenfranchised the process. I do want you all, I'm putting a number out there, 600,000 people voted by mail in this last election. And because of that, my colleagues found the need to move the goalposts a tad bit, more than a tad bit, that rightfully affects our community from being able to have access to vote. Considering that it has already been put out there and is already signed by the governor, the only thing we can do is make sure the residents know what the new rules are, and we act accordingly as the court system takes its course. We can't wait for the courts. We have to do what we have to do to make sure individuals are able to vote. That is the biggest thing. And again, we will do a larger event with the community to be able to talk about Senate Bill 90 in more details so we can know how we need to move forward in that. I'm going to wrap up because I don't know if you have any questions, but before I do that, I do want to do a check presentation to the city of Opa-locka in the amount of 1.2 billion. Well, I wish it was 1.2 billion. $1.2 million for the city of Opa-locka. I'm grateful for, again, I'm grateful to represent you all, and I'm happy to present this check to you all today.
Thank you so much, Senator Jones. We're actually going to come down so we can take a photo with you. Yes.
Oh, I need to explain.
We know that our senator, great senator, just had to leave us, but we do want to express how grateful we are for all the hard work that he put in this legislative season and for bringing the city of Opa-locka some much needed funds to our police department. And we're just excited about that. Any other commissioners?
Yes, absolutely, Vice Mayor. You couldn't have put it any better. We're very thankful for the work of our representatives in Tallahassee, Senator Jones and Representative Bush, who've been fighting diligently on various issues that have impacted the city. And now we're at a point where we get to see the fruits of the labor and ultimately to a benefit to our residents. So again, we're very thankful. And again, thank you to Representative Bush and Senator Jones. Thank you.
I want to echo my colleagues and say thank you to our representatives for helping Opa-locka. And like my colleague said, and pushing us to the front line. Thank you for all that you do.
I'll wait for Representative Bush. Thank you.
Okay. Citizens Forum is open again.
Brian Dennis, address 821 Northwest, 54th Street. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. You all need to also give yourselves a round of applause, if you really think about it, because the foolishness that's been going on in the city.
Pastor, we can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
You all ought to give yourselves a round of applause for preventing all the foolishness that was happening in the city that would have negated that would have gave us a bad look. So you should also be proud of yourselves, if nothing else. I want to critique this because I'm kind of old. Had 2 meetings last month and they were 6 hours total. Somebody has to take the reins and be a leader up here and stop the babbling and the foolishness. For real. The manager's contract, it is what it is. But I think for the new commissioners, to be fair to them, they should have the proper time and not 6 months to just push a decision and say, oh, this is what we want. When you look back at the agendas that's been coming across the dais, and I look at all of them, the city is stuck in neutral. It's not moving anywhere. It ain't going backwards, but it ain't going forward. All the money that's coming into the city is designated for one spot. That police department money has been on the table from Representative Bush since the last session. And no disrespect to the state senator, because it's still a great job done by both. But respect is due to a dog. Respect is due to a dog. I had a conversation with someone, and it was talking to me. I know they was talking to me for somebody up here. And what they tried to do was make me seem like I was an idiot. Let me give you my resume before I sit down. I'm the president, the former president of Brothers of the Same Mind. In 2002, I helped craft the legislation for the Miami-Dade County Community Workforce Program that was created for Brothers of the Same Mind. And zip codes 33142, 147, 136, 055, 054, 056, everywhere the Black community was. When it comes to the charter and moving the city forward, the way that city needed to be forward is all in the charter, and the legislation could move it forward. But when you don't understand business and you go back and forth with personal foolishness, it leaves the city stuck and neutral. The $1.2 million is directed toward the police officers. Where's the money that's directed toward the city that would then begin to help the residents move forward and bring down the millage rate? In my closing, I'm gonna give you this for free. There's an ordinance in the city charter, 95-6. If I may finish, Vice Mayor. What that charter said in 1995, the city commission put an ordinance together that said any entity that comes into the city of Opa-locka must hire the residents. Take this back to the charter board so they can add this in there. You can take it to the polls and we can vote on it. There's a percentage of the residents that's missing from the ordinance. If you put what percentage in the ordinance, you amend the ordinance, what you then now is to begin to enforce what Article 95-6. Let me tell you why I'm saying this. When Amazon came to the table, the city of Opa-locka was nowhere to be found. Even though Amazon sits on county property, it sits within the city of Miami. Even though the housing project of the Poker Bean sits within the city of Miami, it belongs to Miami-Dade County, so the city of Miami patrols that project. The city of Opa-locka should have been to the table and benefited when Amazon came to the table, and that would have started to work to get our residents working. It's about business. It's about understanding the legislation that's in the charter and understanding what 95-6 is. But it also, while you have career source here, the city of Opa-locka could also establish its own employment agency. But you have to know the charter. That's legislation. So the next time somebody has somebody to call me and think that I don't know what it takes to move the city, I don't have to sit up there to move the city when I know the charter and the legislation that it takes to move the city. I have the same phone number for 20 some odd years. I have never been a stranger to anybody. But please, don't have somebody to call me that don't know anything about the city and try to tell me what the city needs when I just gave you legislation to put forth and then begin to put our residents back to work. If you ain't never been locked up, you ain't never been on welfare, you ain't never been on Medicaid, and you ain't never been a single parent like I have been, understanding what women go through in raising a daughter by myself, you don't understand what this community needs.
Thank you. Anyone else, Citizens Forum? Madam Clerk, is there anyone online? Thank you. Citizens Forum is now closed. Does any commissioners have any comments?
Madam Vice Mayor.
Yes, Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. I have one to Mrs. Mitchell. Her comments about putting forth an event along the lines of, I guess, the Arabian Nights Festival, and her idea of having, I guess, I didn't catch the name of the event, but I think it was a first night outdoor, some sort of festival that her and her daughter were looking to put forth. We in the city, because of COVID, we did have restrictions on community events, but those restrictions have been lifted. Provided that you go through the special event permitting process, and it is approved. There's nothing on the city side that will hold you back from preventing or prevent you from doing an event like that. In addition to that, I think we all are committed. We all realize the importance of the Arabian Nights Festival having grown up here in the city of Opa-locka. I think currently our financial position in many ways have limited putting forth something like that. But I think I could speak for the rest of my colleagues when I say the will is there. We do realize how important cultural programming is to our community and the impact that the Arabian Nights Festival had over the years. Not sure when we'll be able to make it happen, but we're working and we're committed. To former Commissioner Vice Mayor Johnson, regarding the educational compact. I know at one point you sat on the board and you represented the city, I believe, in that regard. As a first-year teacher, now I have a bird's eye view of many of the challenges that our students face, as well as my colleague Vice Mayor, who sits in a whole nother position. I look forward to chatting with you further on those findings, and also working with my colleague to push goals for our city. And with that, that'll conclude my remarks, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Vice Mayor, to the Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Taylor?
To Ms. Mitchell, in regards to that festival that you're trying to host, I want to help you with that. So let's put something together, because I love community engagement and bringing the community together. So I will personally extend my hand of help to you on that. And in regards to, like my colleague said, in regards to Ms. Johnson's education, I think that's a great idea. And I think we also need to look into that. And to Mr. Dennis's, the Article 95-6, is that something that we can get a copy of to look into that? Because I know that was an issue with employment. And if we can do something like that to ensure that our citizens are employed with the new developments that are coming in, I want to make sure that we are on top of that as well. And that concludes my remarks.
Thank you. Now on to action items. Madam City Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving an agreement for the sale and purchase of vacant land between the City of Opa-locka and T&J Realty LLC for declared surplus alleyways between the parcels identified by folios 08-2121-007-2680, 08-2121-007-2690, 08-2121-007-2630, 08-2121-007-2650, 08-2121-007-2660, 08-2121-007-2670, 08-2121-013-2010, and 08-2121-013-2020 in the B2 zoning district in the amount of $57,000. Further authorizing the city manager to execute the agreement for sale and purchase of vacant land in an as-is condition, and to take all other necessary actions to effectuate the intent of this resolution, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to move consent agenda item 13-1?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second for discussion.
second for discussion by Commissioner Davis. Mr. Manager?
Thank you. I ask Mr. Lee to come up and present on behalf of the Community Development Department.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and Commissioners. Gerald Lee, City of Opa-locka Community Development Department. This item is a request for this agreement to be approved by you, but this project was already approved as far as its site plan and development agreement, and for the vacation of the alleys that intermingle between the properties that are identified and read into the record by the city attorney. This project is already approved, and this is the last part of that whole process to sell and sell the property for this particular action. Staff is in agreement with it, and we recommend it, and we thank you for your consideration. I'm available for any questions or comments.
Excuse me, Vice Mayor. I'm going to have to recuse myself because it might appear that I have a personal interest in this item. So, in this item.
Okay. Madam City Attorney.
That is the prerogative of the commissioner, and he will fill out the proper form that goes with that.
My question is, since we don't have well, do we continue to vote on it? Okay. I didn't know anybody else. Anything else, Mr. Manager, on this item?
As community development stated, this is a development agreement. Previous action has been approved by the city commission in the past. This is the final piece of approving the final sale. There is approximately $57,000 in escrow for this sales transaction, for this land, for closing purposes, to show proof of funds on hand.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a motion to approve consent agenda item 13-1?
Madam Mayor, I think Commissioner Davis approved it for discussion.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's approved for discussion. If I could just ask a few questions related to the item. Mr. Lee, you said this item was previously approved. Are you referring to the site plan, the developer agreement, as well as the request to vacate the alleyways?
Yes, sir, it was.
So all three items were approved?
Yes, sir. All of that was approved. This is only for the agreement to do the final sale. Everything else has already been approved.
Right. So this is the actual agreement to execute the sale.
Yes, sir. And the price has already been identified within this document.
Got it. Okay. What's the official sale price? I don't see that
$57,000.
highlighted in my packet.
It's $57,000.
$57,000, and
Yes,
is
sir.
that fair market value?
Yes, sir. They provided appraisals, and this was the price that the city agreed to,
Okay.
or we're recommending.
Let's see here.
Do we have an appraisal or not? Do we have an appraisal?
Okay.
Commissioner Burke, anything? Do I have a motion to approve consent item 13-1?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis.
No, it's
Second.
already. Yeah, you just got to call for the vote.
Call for the vote, sorry. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
motion passes 3-0.
A5, Planning and Zoning. This is a public hearing item. Do I have a motion to move item 15A1, A5?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second for discussion.
second for discussion by Commissioner Davis.
Can I read into the record?
Yes.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, approving final plat review request for the construction and operation of a warehouse distribution center on the property located at 12700 Northwest Lejeune Road, identified by folio 08-2129-000-0032 in the B3 zoning district, providing for approval, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for scrivener's errors, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Mr. Manager?
I ask Mr. Lee from the Community Development Department to come and explain the agenda item and answer any questions of the commission.
Gerald Lee, City Community Development Department. This item was approved by the commission for its site plan and for its development agreement. And a part of that process included dealing with the plat that needed to be addressed. They've already been approved by the city for their tentative plat. They've dealt with the requirements of Miami-Dade County, and a part of that process requires the city to approve the final plat before they complete whatever actions they need to complete for Miami-Dade County. This is recommended by the city. It was approved and recommended for approval by the Planning and Zoning Board, and we await your approval to move this process forward. Thank you.
Madam Mayor. Mr. Lee, this is the proposed warehouse off of Lejeune.
Yes, sir. The former auto auction property.
Right.
across
Okay,
from the-
okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manager, since this is planning and zoning, I'm not sure, I think Mr. Gay is on the call. Can he also speak to this item?
If there are any questions on the item, Madam Mayor, unless there are specific questions,
Okay.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Okay, there's no question. Okay, Madam Clerk, can you call for the vote?
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
What is- Oh, sorry.
Vice,
Oh, it's a public hearing item.
oh, I'm sorry, it is a public hearing.
It's a public hearing item. We apologize.
Oh.
Thank you, Commissioner Byrd. I'm totally understanding the process, but I also want to make sure that the commission, when staff, especially when community development said that they are already sent notices out to the businesses to make sure that they are in agreement and the impact and everything, I think it should be in the package, and I have the package, I don't see it. And maybe it's an oversight because I've just been running. But I also think the development agreement say this is the final and it's been approved. All of that, I assume, is in the package. And if so, if someone can direct me to it, because I've seen development agreements come, not under this administration for the law firm, and no one from staff publicly acknowledged that agreement. For example, 135th Street, that truck stop, it's supposed to be a beautiful design in so many months. Well, every time I go by, I have to go by Zip Wash and get my car washed because of the dust. So I'm not saying that staff, because I'm sure the manager's gonna hold accountability and you're gonna hold him accountable, but I just don't see some of this stuff happening, and I'm very concerned. I tried today to get on the planning zone, but it's you got to have a specialty, and I don't have that, and I don't plan to go back to get any education. I know learning never ends. Thank you.
Public hearing is open.
When we are talking about development, we're talking about enterprise. We're talking about employment. When you are building a structure or something and all these gas stations come into the city, where's the agreement that the city of Opa-locka, the residents, could get a job? Construction is a temporary job. So that's the first thing. We could get some construction. So now understanding the businesses that's going to come, where's the agreement? Who's to the table saying, this is what we're going to get for our residents so that they can become employed? Because you have a structure coming into the city. That's a warehouse distribution, going to be a warehouse distribution center that could then begin to employ the residents. It's 95-6. It's economic development. See, if you understand community development is supposed to be economic development. But when the community development is not used to putting the citizens to work because they don't have an interest in the city other than a paycheck, we stuck here. Y'all need to table this until an agreement is reached. So when the construction is done, our people gonna get some work. When the warehouse distribution center open up, our people gonna get some work. That's what's missing from here. Because you got a job, the other people don't got a job. You got to understand how it feels to live on the other side. And that's not what's happening. That's why the millage rate is to the highest that it could go. Y'all need to table this and bring that back. Because staff not moving this city.
Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed.
Madam Vice Mayor,
Yes.
I say since there's a contention, ask that Mr. Gay be able to speak on the item.
Mr. Gay, if you're on the call.
Mr. Gay? Mr. Lee, want to come up and speak on any questions the commissioner may have? So Mr. Gay makes himself available.
Gerald Lee, Community Development. The development agreement does speak to the best efforts with employing city residents on every project. There is a legal threshold to employ, but you cannot force employment. The city development agreement addresses those best efforts, and we anticipate that in this particular project, there will be employment, but this particular property owner has contracts with large firms, and they have a timetable for when they're going to do that. So it's not going to be immediate except for construction opportunities. But when the business is operating there, they have agreed to employ city residents as a part of this project based on what is approved in the development agreement. This particular action that we're dealing with tonight is a part of the platting for the property. The development agreement is already approved, and we anticipate that they will be hiring based on that agreement. We can always rely on what that agreement says, but this particular action tonight is about the platting, not the development agreement. The project is already approved. This is a requirement of Miami-Dade County concerning the platting of the property.
Thank you, Mr. Lee.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Lee, for bringing that point of clarity. As you know, we've championed jobs and employment in our city. Our developer agreements are pretty much standard, where we ask for certain things like to hire local residents and contribute in that way economically to our community. But as Mr. Lee said earlier, it's very challenging as we cannot ultimately force a business to hire our residents, right? So while we can incentivize them, and while we are working through the CRA and other entities to put incentives in place, legally speaking, we can't force anyone to hire any percentage or any threshold of our residents. You know, we understand where you're coming from. You know, we champion jobs and economic development in our community, just like every other city. But we share some of those same challenges, which are on the legalities around what we can and what we can do when asking of developers. Also, I just want to bring a point of clarity as well. Mr. Lee alluded to, this is just the plat of the property. The developer's agreement, the site plan, and the vacation of the alleyways was already approved. So this is just ultimately ratifying the second phase of that plat review, which requires approval of the commission, which I am in support of. Thank you.
Mr. Manager, if I recall, this item or this topic did come up before in discussion in terms of trying to see how our residents can, be hired by some of these businesses. I'm hoping that in the future that we can explore options or ways to know, and I think that's, if last commission meeting, that's where I may mention, how do we know how many of the businesses actually hire our residents? We do know that we do ask them to do a job fair, but we don't know at the end of the day how many are hired. And I know we can't legally enforce it, but it would be great if we can do some type of fact-finding discovery from the manager's office to know how many of these businesses that we have approved to open in Opa-locka do actually hire residents of Opa-locka.
Madam Vice Mayor, thank you for bringing that up. And I have shared your sentiments. The commission shared its sentiments to my office, and my office has shared its sentiments to our community development department. And we will look for more statistical data to be shared with the city commission, even if it's in the annual report format, to be provided to the commission just for knowledge, because knowledge is ultimately power for everybody. And I know with conversations that have been brought up as recent as today, and probably looking at previous legislation and maybe amending that legislation and look at other areas, as Commissioner Taylor has brought up, to do that research, potentially from our office to kind of look at that as well. So duly noted. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Item 16.2, this is the first reading for ordinance resolution. Madam City Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to execute a lease agreement attached hereto with Teen Upward Bound Incorporated to occupy space at 2105 Alibaba Avenue, providing for adoption of representations, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for scrivener's errors, conflicts of law, and providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager. This is a public hearing item.
This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is now open.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Commission. Janie Russell, 1210 Perry Street, Opa-locka. I'm the Executive Director of Teen Upward Bound. As you all know, that we've serviced the city. This is our 20th year in providing services. And if you don't know, we provide services to children. And moving over into the new location, we will be working with other organizations to bring some of the services, not during the summertime because we'll be there with children full time, but looking in the fall, we've contacted some other agencies where we'll be trying to put in place some of those services that the set previously that was there, that they were providing in the community. So we're looking forward to doing that, working with some agencies. And if you have any questions for me, I'm here to answer.
Are there any questions?
Madam Mayor, yes, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Burke?
Ms. Russell, what kind of social programs are you planning on bringing in over there?
Social programs,
You say-
mean other than children?
I'm sorry, you said you're gonna be working with other agencies.
Yes.
Remember, the set used to be our social service program over there where people can, you said you were gonna bring some agencies in, with that type of service, or were you just talking about kids?
Oh, no, we're looking at, in going over there and, being a part of Opa-locka, we see that there are many, many services that are needed. There's a lot of homelessness over there. There's a lot of drug abuse. We try to make contact with the people that were on the corner that used to do the substance abuse, but it seems like they're not there. So those are some of the services that in the mornings we'll be looking to bring, as well as asking the county for some of those services that they also provide, that maybe we could partner with them and make sure that as much as we can, help out with that in that area. And with the churches that are over there feeding, of course, feeding is a big thing. So, we're also participating in that. And, we also have our own feeding program as well. We have the free fridge that we'll be taking over there. So we're looking at doing some of those things as much as we can provide, but also partnering with other agencies. There's a lot of work to be done over there in that area. So we want to try and help.
No, what I was asking, will you have an agency, like if someone needs help with a light bill, or the social type agencies?
Well, I understand I think I understand what you're saying, like the help with the light bill. Those are things that we can partner with the county, because they have those services already and they have agencies that provide them. So we could offer a space a few hours a day or week where we're open for them to come in and provide that service to the people in the community. We are looking forward to doing that. Yes.
Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor,
Mr. Manager?
if I may, Commissioner Burke, so you know, the city is looking to sponsor those type of activities out of Shabundi, LIHEAP, and various other programs, as far as light assistance programs and various other things, county programs. We're looking at our own facilities to provide those. But I do understand your question. I just wanted to kind of expound on that the city is expanding its horizon as far as providing more services for its residents and our own facilities, as well as allowing Team Upward Bound to utilize a set building for their purposes as well.
Okay, so Madam Mayor. Okay, so Mr. Manager, you're saying that it's not necessary for Team Up, but the city's finna take on that responsibility of its own.
No, I'm not saying that, Commissioner. What I'm saying is that we're expanding our facilities. We, as you know, have a lot of underutilization of our park facilities currently. And so we are looking at expanding programming on behalf of our residents and our seniors in a lot of our facilities as well. As well as, I'm sure, looking at that facility to look at having programming as well. I just wanted to just let you know that we are looking at our other facilities within the city to provide services for our seniors and other residents as well.
And if I may, Commissioner Burke, most of those type of services are handled through referrals, and we are having a referral process so that even the children that are part of our program, as they come in and we see the necessary need, we're also referring them to other agencies. So we'll be acting also as a referral basis for not only the people in the program, but the people in the community that come, because once they see the building open and they know what it was utilized for, I'm quite sure they'll be coming and asking questions. So we're getting our own network of referrals to make sure that as much as we can, that we meet that need.
That's all I'm asking, Ms. Russell, because
Yes,
you know the area that you're going into.
yes,
It's a challenge area,
yes,
and a lot of the people have a lot of problems there.
yes,
And at one time, the set was where they came to get referrals to go to where they could get help, or somebody was there to tell them where they could get help.
yes,
And you know,
yes.
that's all I'm saying. I just want to make sure that some of that help is still available in that area. Thank you.
And if I may, and as you know that Teen Upward Bound is embedded in this community, so anything that we could do to help in any area, we always put forth the maximum effort to not only referral, but to meet the need of the people of the community. And we'll continue to do that.
Madam Vice Mayor?
Yes,
Oh, I think we said-
Commissioner,
Okay,
Commissioner
well,
Taylor.
thank you. Two things. Number one, happy 20th year. And two, you know, I'm a champion for children and community building. So I appreciate the fact that you are going over there to bring life into that area. Because when I was growing up, it was known as a triangle, but I think since then it was changed to Magnolia North.
It was always Magnolia North, and we just called it a triangle.
So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate the job that you're doing, the good job that you're going to do in that area to help change that area. So I just
Well-
wanted to say that.
Well, with the help of everyone, we're looking forward to it. It is a challenging area, and most of our parents that have been calling about summer camp, you know, we've told them where we're gonna probably be, and you know, and we have to let them know, if Teen Upward Bound said we're taking you over there, you know your children are gonna be all right. And I know that the manager and the commission and the police department and everybody is gonna work together to make sure that happens.
Madam Vice Mayor,
Commissioner Davis.
thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Russell, for all that you do for our great community. I think I'm excited to see you coming on and ultimately taking over the SET Center and providing youth services in an area of our community in particular that I felt was just left to the wayside for so long. As you know, the triangle having a low voter turnout and civic participation, in my opinion, was always it's always been some sort of I guess the stepchild of the city. And many of my early wins, building a park and advocating for many goals for the residents in that community. I'm glad to see that we're moving forward. My hope is, that you are, I know that you have a background of working in some of our toughest neighborhoods and getting our youth out and, just engaging in the meaningful experiences. Of course, with the recent hike in violent activity and just the challenges, not only our youth, but our community is faced as a whole. My hope is that your efforts would also reach out. You'll reach out with your efforts in that regard and bring them on board with whatever programming and services that you're providing. And one of my concerns was similar to Commissioner Burke's, which was, of course, the social service aspect. As you know, many residents in that community, they really benefited from the social services that was provided within the SET Center. And although not considered direct programming, the referral services, of course, to other agencies was a big component of that. And we definitely look forward to you bringing that on, I guess not in the summer, but eventually in the fall as you move forward. So thank you again for all that you do. And to my colleague who's a champion for children, and I'm sure we all are in our own respect. Yeah, let's do some things with our youth.
Well, thank you all very much for the vote of confidence, and we look forward to it. And I've reached out to a lot of young people that once lived in that area, that they're going to come and go and walk around with us. And although we know a lot of people as well, but you know, they know the ins and outs of the area. So they'll be coming and going and walking with us. Some of our old Teen Upward Bound kids that have, you know, we call them Teen Upward Bound alumni that's gonna come. And so we're looking forward to have a big kickoff. You know, we love big events to bring some awareness. So we're looking forward to that, and everyone will be invited to come and be a part of the kickoff celebration. So I hope that you all are pleased.
Ms. Russell, first, congratulations. 20 years, that means that you actually have some upward bound grandchildren out here in the streets of Opa-locka. So really congratulations on that, that effort to the work with children. The work that we do on a day-to-day basis is not easy, and a lot of people cannot do it. So we do thank you wholeheartedly for stepping in the gap for what we need here in Opa-locka. My question is to the manager. And earlier you answered Commissioner Burke's question about what was going to happen here at Sherbundi Village and the services that he asked about, the social services. I would only hope, and I know the agreement is here tonight, but I would hope that if this does not happen in the park, the particular park initiatives that we're saying is going to happen, that we reevaluate their location, because I've known Upward Bound to be in Sherbundi Village, that we look at the movement of bringing Upward Bound back to Sherbundi so that those services can be provided to, and I'm only saying this so that, you know, we're saying a lot that's going to happen in the park. I'm waiting, TikTok, but I'm just hoping that that's something we can revisit.
Yes, Madam Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Okay. I'll call for the vote. Madam Clerk. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. Public hearing is still open.
I'm in support of what the Russells, I'm sorry, Vice Mayor. I'm in support of what the Russells do and how they've been doing it all the years of watching the kids come through the city and watch how they don't make the news. They don't make the news. And you have to have some type of godly influence. Even though you don't actually speak God around children, you have a godly influence to influence them to do better in life and to move on. And that was a perfect statement that they have upward bound grandchildren. That's what we need in the productive of the city of Opa-locka. Real quick, Mr. Commissioner, you're right, you can't force anyone to hire anybody, but you can legislate it. And one of the things that we did at the county, whatever contract they was given at the county, in order to get that contract in the county, they legislated, and there was a percentage that went with it.
Excuse me.
But we'll sit down and talk.
Thank you. Public hearing still open. Public hearing is closed. Call for the vote, Madam Clerk.
I need a motion in a second.
Call for a motion.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Davis, second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Absolutely, yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Definitely yes.
Motion passes 4-0 first reading.
Item 16B1, this is a second reading ordinance. Madam Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending the annual adopted general, proprietary, and special revenue funds budgets for the fiscal year commencing October 1, 2020, and ending September 30th, 2021, adjusting revenues and expenditures as reflected in Exhibit A, providing for the expenditure of funds established by the budget, authorizing the city manager to take certain actions, providing for all appropriation of all budgets and expenditures, providing for fees consistent with appropriations and amendment, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for an effective date. The first reading was held on May 26, 2021. This is sponsored by the city manager, and it is a public hearing also.
Do I have a motion to move this item?
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Burke, second by Commissioner Taylor. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is now open.
Dottie Johnson, 13724 Northwest 22nd Place. I know that Citizen Mitchell came up and had a project, but I would like for someone to put it on record, because right now with everything going as it is, the budget is already, gone through the approval, and it's unfortunately that project may not be done in this fiscal year. So I just, sometimes I think we give false hope and not bring it all out to it. So I think one of the commissioners is going to take it on as one of your projects to make sure that the citizen does understand that everything has been budgeted this time and may not, and how you're going to do it. In addition, for any fundraising that you're doing, just make sure that it's documented with a receipt back to the recipients that may give, because I know her and I know her heart, and she will put all that energy thinking in November they can have, and it may not happen. So thanks.
Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed.
Madam Vice Chair, I just have a question if no one,
Yes.
okay. Mr. Manager, can you speak to the, referring to the water sewer fund, the $20,000 line item in its most recent budget amendment that speaks to increase county utility billing charges, referencing the MOU, the
Commissioner-
12% increase?
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
I think Madam Vice Mayor need to call for a motion, second, and discussion.
Okay.
Then have Mr. Anthony come up.
Yes.
Sure. No, the motion, it's been motion and seconded. Yeah, motion and second in public.
Mr. Anthony.
Good evening, Commissions, pardon me. Bob Anathan, Budget Administrator. Commissioner, in response to your question, as we started to get the monthly reconciliation from the county, we realized that there was a rather large increase in there. It's being looked at, but at the same time, I want to make sure that there was sufficient funding in the budget to accommodate it. It's part of the MOU. The county does have the right to raise the fees that they charge for the billing and collection of our utility bills, and they've exercised that right.
Okay, so it's pretty much outlined in the MOU, which gives the county a 12% threshold to be able to, I guess, upcharge for increased utility billing charges.
The MOU has a lower limit and we're working on it, but at the moment I want to make sure that I had it covered in the budget. If it becomes not necessarily fully covered, then it'll revert back into the water sewer fund balance.
Okay, so this is a kind of overshoot to ensure that we have enough funds in place to cover any
Yes, sir,
sort
exactly.
of variation. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Anderson. To the manager, I am a bit concerned. I guess with this increase, I know that we do have an agreement in place with Miami-Dade County that ultimately gives them some leeway to increase our utility bills. However, I would like to look at this matter, I guess, further. We're still in challenging times, and any increase, quite frankly, I'm really concerned that it could, negatively impact our residents. So I just want to be sure if there's anything that the city or us as electeds and advocates of the city can ultimately do to lessen the burden. I'll be in favor of that. So I look forward to speaking with you further about the issue. Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
May I comment on that? I think there might be a slight misunderstanding. This is not passed through to our residents. This is borne by the city. So yes, it does impact the city, but the residents will not be directly impacted by it.
Okay, so this is just on our end.
This is to our account. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Manager, did you want to respond or? Mr. Davis?
I think Mr. Anthony
Okay.
answered
Yeah,
Okay.
the commissioner's question. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay. We'll call for the vote. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
motion passes 4-0.
You have a motion to move item 16B2.
Move it.
I read it to the record.
No, you want to open it for public forum.
Madam Attorney.
An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Article 4, entitled Personnel to create Division 4 of the City of Opa-locka's Code of Ordinances to be entitled City Holidays, specifically recognizing Juneteenth Independence Day as a paid city holiday and specifically citing all other city holidays, providing for conflict and repealer, providing for severability, providing for codification and scrivener's errors, conflicts of law, and providing for an effective date. First reading was held on May 26, 2021. This is sponsored by Commissioner Davis, Mayor Pygott, and Vice Mayor Williams. This is another public hearing item.
So I have a motion to move this item.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Taylor. This is a public hearing item. Public hearing is open. Public hearing is closed. Commissioner Davis?
Thank you. So this is the second reading of an item that myself, Vice Mayor Williams, as well as Mayor Pygott co-sponsored, which pretty much establishes Juneteenth, as we like to call Juneteenth Independence Day, as an official observed holiday here in our city. As you know, we have several citywide holidays that we acknowledge. In my opinion, the addition of this holiday is equally as important, or even more important than the other 11, given its history. So I'm just glad to have the support of my colleagues. Again, thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, in your absence, as well as those others who have supported the item. I look forward to attending our Juneteenth celebration here in the city and having a holiday fully observed. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis, for proffering this item, and I look forward to seeing some great Juneteenth activities years from now. Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Burke?
Yes.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Madam Clerk, are there any resolutions?
No, ma'am.
We'll now have the city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. A formal response will be provided for the May 26th regular commission meeting action list. However, I want to provide a commission an update of brief responses on some of the items that were brought up at last commission meeting. A inquiry was made in regards to the HR building being considered as designated as a historical building. Staff has done research on that matter. It cannot be designated as a historical building because it does not hold any historical features that represents Opa-locka history. Therefore, it cannot be considered a historical building. There was a question in regards to the status of the illegal dumping initiative that Madam Vice Mayor brought forward. Software is currently active. The initiative will start once the budget amendment is approved, which was approved today. So the monies will be actually placed in the coffer. Reward monies will be placed in the coffer as of tomorrow. So that program will be actively running through the police department and our code enforcement initiative. There was a question asked in regards to building and licensing, in regards to the news of the $200,000 that was stolen from FY 17, 18, and 19, which, by the way, occurred before my time as city manager. And currently, the city does not accept any cash payments from our building and licensing department. So building licensing fees are not paid using cash. And that shortly occurred after FY 19, my coming aboard as city manager. The comprehensive emergency management plan, along with the Park and Recreation Hurricane Plan, was submitted to the City Commission on June 1st of 2021. That was a request of Mayor Paget. And RFP for bus benches will be presented to the City Commission at the June 23rd regular commission meeting. Speak on other issues. As everybody is aware, we just received $1.2 million in regards to go towards the reconstruction of a new Opa-locka Police Department that will looking to place at the current location of the old police department. We are looking to do this project in a phased approach. Phase one is basic tearing down the building, environmentals being done on the site, underground pumps being removed to get the site ready for a reconstruction project, as well as architecturing drawings and various other pre-construction activities to occur with that first phase of money that's coming in. So everyone is aware, any monies that's distributed by the state of Florida, typically a grant application has to be done, an agreement has to be executed by the City Commission in regards to the use of funds, as well as the scope of work in regards to the use of funds. So what you saw tonight is just merely phased approach of showing that, yes, the governor has signed the bill and those funds have been set aside for the project. But there's more formalities that have to take place that the City Commission will take direct part of, as far as approving the project, scope of work, RFP process, and various other avenues that need to occur prior to the use of those funds. We have been in contact by the state of Florida in regards to the $100,000 usage for fencing for the Parks and Recreation project. That agreement is going through our budget department currently for review, to be brought before the commission for approval, for the $100,000 to be used towards fencing and security improvements for certain park and recreation facilities, in regards, especially leading to a scope of work. So again, the use of those funds have to come back before the city commission as far as the scope of work is concerned, how those funds are going to be used, design, and various other processes and procedures to take place prior to use of those funds. The reason I bring that up is Mayor Paget asked specific pointed questions at the last commission meeting in regards to what our plan was in regards to the use of the $1.225 million and the $100,000 that was awarded to the city as far as the park recreation program. As some may or may not be aware, the $100,000 for senior programming was not awarded and was vetoed through the governor's vetoing powers, line level vetoing powers. The city manager's office is currently looking at, again, ask the city commission, I may ask, and I ask again today for some direction from the city commission in regards to the thought process of what they would like to see in regards to our code enforcement departments and our building license departments, if they want a formalized piggyback document to be provided for potential approval, or if a potential RFP process would be required or desired based on however the commission may provide a consensus of, not a vote, but a consensus, head nod, or even an individual phone call after today's meeting. And the reason I ask is the commission has provided guidance, mixed guidance on various different topics in regards to what we want to see RFP'd and what we want to see piggybacked and various different things like that. So before I expend staff time on looking at potential piggybacking those options or doing a formal RFP, I would like to know what the commission's thought process is. Understand a formal RFP will take a longer process. These are services that have been piggybacked and used in other municipalities, so a piggyback would be quicker to look at. And again, it's just for proposal purposes. It's not for final action. I just want to kind of bring that up before the commission's attention. I was kind of stifled at the last commission meeting as far as getting a final response on that specific item. The city has been making a great deal of progress in regards to moving the city forward in a positive direction. I do agree. My office values the support and values the input from each individual commission member through our agenda briefings and various other meetings that that occur. I wholeheartedly feel in order for me to be at the best disposal for the city commission, I think being provided input from all members of the commission in an equal and fair manner is needed. And I ask this in saying that my office is open to reconvening meetings with the office of the mayor and attempting to reconcile and open up the dialogue again with the mayor's office in an attempt to move the city forward in a way that's positive and plentiful for all involved, especially our residents, as our residents are concerned. So we won't be or have 4.5-hour meetings. My staff, I believe, looks forward to the conversation moving forward with the commission as far as looking at moving the city forward in a way that's positive and productive in nature. I would ask at this time if any questions of the city manager's office, I'll be more than happy to answer those questions as I may be able to answer them. If I'm not able to answer your questions, my office will be changing posture in that answers that we will not be able to provide tonight, we will be providing written responses to the city commission based on information that is requested of my office. Thank you.
Madam Vice Mayor.
Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Manager, first off, I can tell you right now, RFP or whatever, I don't want to see any more of our departments being outsourced. I mean, we have given so many of our departments away, and if we continue chipping, we're not going to have a city. That's my opinion. Another, my second concern is you're saying we're going to do the police station in phases. Is there any other money out there right now that we can get to go with what we just got for the police station? Because Opa-locka has a bad reputation in doing things in phases. I can tell you that now. So before we start doing anything in a phase, let's see if there's some money out there that we can go ahead and get our hands on. So if we can get enough, if we need to build a new police department, we can do that. Or if we don't get enough, I think it's still the opportunity to gut that building out and rehab that building. But as far as doing things in phases, Opa-locka is not too good with doing things in phases. My next concern is, I know we've been sitting up here talking about beautification for a long time. I think we got an email from a resident this week about the beautification of the city. And I concur with him. As you're entering our city, whether it's 151st Street going south or 135th Street and 17th Avenue going west, it takes nothing to, but I don't know. I ride the city, so I see this. Our identification markers, it takes nothing to put, like they say, a little mulch around there, little flowers around there, and continue to make that look nice, because coming into our city, that's the first thing people see. I remember Scheherazade. Scheherazade used to have beautiful grass. And I noticed the mulch is still fresh on Scheherazade, but we have let people, even though we have the signs out there saying no loitering, you come down Scheherazade in the evening times, you got people sitting over there in the medium. Now we tried for a long time to take care of the mediums. We had them looking beautiful. The grass was green, the trees was nice, the mulch around there. But if you got people sitting out there in the medium, sitting on the grass, one Saturday I came in, somebody had no parked on the grass from one of the houses. If we're going to spend the money to make the city look nice, we got to be able to stay on top of it. Because like I say, we have signs up there on Scheherazade that says no loitering. But you come down Scheherazade every evening, you got 4 to 5 and 10 people sitting out there across from those apartments over there. And I know the police goes through there, they see them. I know they've spoken to them several times. They ran it from over there. But they still come back. Right now, right off of Bauman, they got bricks sitting out there. They had little furniture sitting out there in the medium. If we're going to spend the money for mulch, if we're going to spend the money for beautification, and I know the vice mayor has been calling on beautifying the city for a long time, but if we're going to spend that money to do this, and it doesn't take much, it doesn't take much, we're going to have to stay on top of it. And another problem we have, I heard us talking about this before. We were going to get a bucket truck, and go around and cut back some of these trees. I don't know whether we can do it. I would say, you know, find somebody to do it. But right now, I had a resident called me over in front of Siegel Park. They can't even see the street light. Now the trees are in the swales. And I think we said that we were gonna cut them one time. And then let the homeowner know from this time on, it was gonna be up to the homeowner. But still, we haven't done anything. And hurricane season is coming up now. So if we're gonna get somebody to come in and cut the trees, or if we can get a bucket truck and try to get our employees to do it, which I wouldn't advise. But these are some of the things that needs to be done, Mr. Manager. And I thank you. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Madam Vice Mayor,
Mr. Manager.
while the topic is up, I asked Mr. Austin to come up and speak on those items. I know that's probably a item that the entire commission will want to kind of a briefing on. So I have Mr. Austin come up and speak on it.
Before you start, Mr. Austin, Mr. Manager, I would also like to know, we talked about the corrections and having that process also for the inmates to come out and clean as well. I know all of that could be a possibility that we've been talking about, so I'm hoping that within your report, you can discuss that. Yeah.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if I can add an item, since we have Mr. Austin, as well as the update on the benches and the procurement of that item.
If I could speak on the procurement of bus benches, the city commission directed RFP to be done, even though that is not an item that necessarily has to be procured through RFP. You all voted on a RFP to be done, and that will be presented at the June 23rd regular commission meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me see if I could. Aria Austin, Public Works Director. Let me try and go through sequence as laid out by commission. Our entry signs, this is a ongoing necessary item, but we wanted to stop the effort of maintaining those items. Right now, most of our sign facilities are not equipped with irrigation. The last effort we did was 4 months ago, at which time all of the plant material was replaced. We are in the process of installing irrigation systems so we could add, instead of zero-scape plants, which are just mostly green, we wanted to add what the commission is seeking, is just flowering plants, and be able to maintain them for an extended period rather than a 4-month period, at which time we have to replace it. So it's in the works. We are maintaining all of our irrigation systems citywide on our medians. The first initiative will be seen on Purvis Avenue, where when the irrigation is complete, we will be removing the center plant material and allow a grass look, and at a later time, install flowering trees or palm trees down the center of the median, which would give us a more airy and green look and reduce our maintenance efforts since we do not have the personnel to actively maintain those areas. As it relates to the tree trimming, we were trying to source a bucket truck for our internal use, being that the COVID negated those efforts to where a bucket truck will take us 9 months to procure. We have retained the services of a rental unit, which will be arriving tomorrow. By next week, we will have performed 50% of the needed tree landscaping project. Our efforts will be relegated initially to 139th Street, Scheherazade Boulevard, and other major medians that need tree trimming. And that's a process that's ongoing. We are still working towards acquiring our own bucket truck so we could do other areas of the city as we move forward. Mr. Commissioner Davis asked about us working on the bus benches, and the manager spoke to that. That's a process that we are aware of, and we're looking into resolving it relatively soon. Our other beautification efforts on Scheherazade Boulevard. We are working with the police department to thwart the loitering in that area. It's a challenge. We clean it in the morning, and in the evening, we have more furniture out there. Right now, we only have 2 individuals that we could dedicate to that initiative. Another initiative that takes away our time is our food drives on a weekly basis. We were looking to see if we were able to resume a bi-monthly food drive or the original every once a month to help us until such time that we have the personnel to be able to handle both initiatives going forward. Beautification is layered on our hearts, and we are working diligently to first set the infrastructure in place before we could realize the beauty effect that the commission and the residents truly deserve. We do not want to have a half-hearted effect in moving this project forward. I'm open to any questions or concerns.
Commissioner Taylor.
Okay, couple of things. Number one, you talked about the irrigation repair starting on Purvis.
Yes.
What's the timeline on that? Because you never get it. You said the first one will be on Purvis.
We are in the final stages. We should have the irrigation wrapped up by the end of this week. And you will see the start of plant materials being removed this week.
So they're gonna start digging it up
Yes, sir.
this week.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when do you plan on finishing? You said the start of the digging is this week. So when do you plan on planting the flowers, putting the mulch? When is the final product?
We want the grass to grow in first, which would take approximately 1 month or so. And then we have a tree planting initiative for the sidewalks. We are in the procurement process for those flowering trees to replace those that were damaged before.
Wait, you're putting grass seeds down? You're not planting grass?
Be putting grass seeds down.
So it's just gonna be a pile of dirt for a month. So we're going from bad to worse. And we're gonna be watering.
Commissioner, so we're looking at expense. So which may require another budget amendment. So we're looking at expense of actually putting sod down. I believe it's much more expensive to put sod down compared to planting grass seed. And Mr. Austin can kind of speak on that and the methodology. We did try to price out beautification last year, and it became a several $100,000 effort.
$300,000
effort that we are still in a financial emergency. So I understand we want quick natured actions in regards to planting sod and expensive trees and various different things like that. It is the commission's sole thought process to do that, we can go and reprice that out and look at those options again. But I know when we looked at it, it was a multiple $100,000 effort that we were looking at. Just to answer your question.
I understand what you're saying, but my only concern with that project, we're in hurricane season. So if you dig up and have dirt, Opa-locka floods. So who's to say that grass is gonna grow? And the dirt is just gonna be washed away. I just don't understand the logic, I guess. And
We will reevaluate our methodology as it pertains to that, Commissioner.
okay, all right, and then the other thing that I have was, why does the food drive affect Public Works' ability to do their job?
We are,
Because I don't even, isn't a food drive 2 hours? So,
food drives, the startup for the food drive starts at 6 a.m. We have 5 individuals assigned to that task.
but what are they doing that stops them from doing that? Because they have to put up the tent and serve the food?
And they participate in the handout and all the other logistics for the drive.
Can we move this to a different department, or maybe parks or something? That way we can have an excuse.
Parks
why
is
the
out
city
there.
But I just don't, no, hear me. I just don't want this to be, there's 5 days in a week. For you to say that the reason why the city is not beautified for because of 1 day, it just doesn't. So if we move that to a different department, then maybe we won't have those excuses as to why the city.
We are diminished with manpower at this time. So every day and every hour of our manpower usage is crucial to achieving our goals. I missed one item that I wanted to, sorry for interruption. I missed one item, and that is pertinent to the prisoners returning to help us with our efforts. We are in receipt of a contract that we would like to utilize. It's under legal review right now, and we will be bringing that item back for when we have clarity on how to proceed with it.
Mr. Austin, may I?
Madam Mayor.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. I just had one follow-up question, Mr. Austin, if you're with me, can recall back to our meeting with Vice Chairman Gilbert, as well as Miami-Dade Stormwater Management regarding our waterways and some of the eyesores that we unfortunately have to deal with. I know that there's a current MOU in place, and we had a meeting and talked about some of the issues that we're ultimately experiencing and how we can work through those issues. Has Miami-Dade Stormwater reached out in any capacity in regards to those issues? And if not, I would like to see some sort of amendment to the existing agreement that's in place. I know that's a 5-year agreement that we're approximately 3 years into. However, I would like to see something in the immediate. But I was just wondering if you've been in any contact with them, or if they reached out regarding the derelict vessels and some of the trash and dumping that goes on in our waterways.
Beyond a event by event, we have not set in place a permanent agreement which would be needing to amend the MOU, which was set in place by ordinance. There's just a as needed basis where they will respond to our requests for services in maintaining the aesthetics of the canal along Burlington Avenue and 22nd Avenue, as well as the Opa-locka Boulevard.
So are we still using contingencies?
We're currently still using the contingency. They are not at this time amenable to
the amending of the contract.
Amendment of the contract.
Okay, and by you said, and when you say they, who are referring to?
We
Miami-Dade
reached out to
County?
the stormwater management section of Miami-Dade County.
Okay, well, if I understood correctly, the MOU ultimately has to be approved by the Board of County Commissioners, correct?
Correct. first by the city and then by the Board of Commissioners.
Right, so in essence, it's ultimately the decision of the board, whether the agreement, can be amended, of course. Getting it on the agenda and having that will probably take some work. Did they give a reason why, they didn't want to amend the contract?
Because they're saying for several other cities that was not a part of their agreement. And this contract is a multi-city co-op, as if I could put it that way.
Oh, got it. So we amended it would affect other cities as well. So they're not really open to allow for that sort of amendment and make those sort of changes across the board. Correct. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Austin.
Madam Vice Mayor,
Yes.
I think I have a solution to this. Last year, more on beautification, just in overall. So last year, we looked at 2 avenues. We looked at 3 landscaping companies to provide total beautification, first step beautification of the entire city, and how much that will cost us compared to how much it will cost our public works staff to do. I think, Mr. Austin, it'd be due time to get with the budget administrator and bring that stuff back together and get that over to the commission so they can see what that looks like, what those dollar amounts look like from the 3 vendors I believe we looked at last year.
Yes, sir.
And what they looked at the total beautification of the city, and then us maintaining it moving forward compared to our staff incrementally doing that. And I think once that's brought to perspective, we can initially send it out. If the commission so desires to do a beautification workshop, we can do that. But I think if we can see those dollar amounts out there and you guys can actually see what we were looking at last year compared to what we're looking at now and kind of put things in perspective, I think that will kind of give you all, they provide the direction to us, and we'll do what we need to do to shape our budget out next year or even in another budget amendment or something like that to kind of address it. But it's a grandiose dollar amount because I know we looked at it last year. I know former Commissioner Kelly brought it up in his correspondence, and we did that, and it was a grand amount. So I think that we need to bring that back up front into perspective so everybody can kind of see that. Mr. Austin, if you can have that for next commission meeting.
Quick question,
Mayor.
Mr. Manager. Quick question. I know we passed several months ago a entity to write grants. Where are we with that? Is that something that we can look at to write a grant on beautification?
Sure. Mr. Austin, and I think Mr. Anthony kind of manages that grant person. If they're out there, we are going to seek it. And it's duly noted. I don't believe there has been any beautification grants out there, but we can kind of do that research. Mr. Austin?
We were provided with a schedule yesterday, and it does include a $50,000 grant with an in-kind match. We are looking to bring that forward as well.
Okay.
Commissioner Burke?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor. Mr. Austin, don't get me wrong. I was not saying you do have a crew that cleans Scheherazade Boulevard every morning.
Yes, we do.
And they're diligently out there every morning.
Yes, sir.
So don't think that I was saying Public Works do what they're supposed to do. They get out there in the morning and they clean it up. And I've seen several times they pick up mattresses and throw it on the back of the truck, or they pick up chairs. And that's something else we need to find out. How can we know all this furniture is coming from that complex right in front of Scheherazade. But how do we tax them? How do we tax them? But I just wanted to go back and say, and I don't want Yvette or Nelson coming behind me, but I know they're out there every morning on Scheherazade Boulevard, okay?
Yes, Yes, sir.
And for Commissioner Taylor, Parks and Recreations is also a part of my feeding team, okay? So for your information, don't put Parks and Recreation out there. Park and Recreation is also a part of my feeding team. Thank you, ma'am.
I wanted to go back, the manager's report. You mentioned the outsourcing of the two departments. I know Commissioner Burke did make a statement, and I did want to, I think, actually ask Commissioner Burke, um, if not outsource, then what's that next plan? If we're not outsourcing, I know Commissioner Burke, you mentioned that, if we outsource, et cetera, et cetera. However, what then do we do? Because right now the system is broken. And I guess this is for all the commissioners. What is the plan? Because Mr. Manager asked us for our opinion, and we're just saying what not to do, but we're not actually saying what we think we should do. And so right now, I mean, it's broken, period. So I'm just curious, what's the plan?
Madam Mayor. if I may.
Yes, Commissioner.
Madam Mayor, yes, it's broken, but it can also be fixed. And I personally, I don't think going outside, giving up more of the city is gonna take care of the problem. We know what the problem is. All we need to do is fix it. We can fix it. I know we tried once before outsourcing building a license. We lost a lot of money. The city lost a lot of money. The companies that get the outsourcing, they make the money. We don't make the money. So I've been here and I've seen that. That's why I'm saying if there's things going on in these departments, that's why we have a city manager. He's our fixer. But I don't think coming up saying, let's just get rid of it is fixing it. If there's something wrong inside there, let's fix it. We can fix it in-house and keep it in-house. Because if we outsource it, the outsourcers get the money. We lose money. And when we did the building department, I don't know who did the negotiation, but we were getting like pennies. So that's why I'm strongly against outsourcing any more of our departments. I'm strongly against it. But like I say, our city manager is our fixer. And looking to outsource is not fixing anything. That's just getting rid of it. I really believe it can be taken care in-house. That's my opinion.
Madam Vice Mayor, sorry.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. I share some of the same sentiments as my colleague in regards to outsourcing city departments. As you know, here in the city or being a part of a municipal government, you're in the service delivery business. So we're literally chartered to provide services. That's why you start a city. My hope was that, the manager would ultimately, examine the situation and put the best recommendation forward. And in my opinion, I think in some respect he has done that by proffering the RFP options and to piggyback off off additional bids. My concern in particular, of course, would be, what's more beneficial long-term for our residents as well as the city. I do know when you contract services out, you can ultimately, manage those services through the contract, which brings a, different layer of accountability, right? You're not working with staff that, can sue or, do different things. The details are spelled with the contract. And I kind of argue the point about losing money when outsourcing, where oftentimes when you contract items, you actually save in the long run because you control the services and what's being provided. And I would argue that our residents probably missed out on a lot of money given what has been in the news as of lately. So, I'm not saying I'm for either way. I'm definitely, of course, more in favor of keeping things in-house and kind of managing it. But I mean, given our challenges over the years within these two departments, both building and code enforcement, which, is not a secret. You guys, the residents, you can, it's not like, we don't know the challenges that we're facing. What about an RFQ, Mr. Manager? Have you thought about maybe just leaving it open and having firms actually submit, their wish list or what they can provide to the city? Because I know that the concern with outsourcing pretty much was centered around retaining staff and not losing their employability. So have we looked at, because I haven't heard it mentioned, like I guess doing an RFQ, which would probably take away the city's ability to kind of dictate the process and, outline it. So have we looked at an RFQ process?
So
or any reason why you didn't kind of go in that direction?
So I'm trying my best not to have the city's kind of power of negotiation to be removed. And just speaking on code and just building and licensing realm, there's only a handful of organizations that does that type of work in this area. Miami Gardens uses the similar organization. Hialeah uses a similar organization. And that's why I talk about piggyback, because there are other nearby municipalities that are currently outsourcing their building and licensing and code enforcement department, either partially or fully. I personally would like to still have a lot of room to negotiate as far as terms as of retaining employees and employees not losing their jobs, and firm, taking on our employees compared to employees being laid off. And there's a lot of different scenarios out there. And so, as I always stated, and even stated to the commission, my goal ultimately is to bring the best services possible to our residents, as well as look out for our employees and them not lose out on employment or lose their job. And so I want to have some type of control in regards, when that is concerned. And when you start talking RFPs and less piggybacking, and if it's not specific content in the contract, like I said, you lose a lot of maneuverability that could benefit and address some of the concerns that the city commission has stated in the past about outsourcing in general, because you all have always provided, guidance to me in the whole realm of outsourcing, not necessarily these to individual entities. And the key is you don't want the employees to lose their job. You want them to still be gainfully employed. You still want them to have a living, and you want to be able to control services and for our residents and make sure they have the best services possible. And so that's what I look at. And the only reason, and Commissioner Burke is correct, you guys pay me to make decisions and to make those determinations and bring it up to you all. The only reason I am only posing the question is I've seen this commission kind of levitate in both directions over the last 6 or 7 months. And so before I put my staff out there to start doing work and get the stuff done, I don't want to be dead on arrival at a commission meeting where you all say, absolutely not, why are you bringing this up as a piggyback, or absolutely not, why are you bringing this to me as RFP? I mean, we had a meeting where literally we talked about finance services. In one meeting, you all, or some of you all, were for RFP. And then when I brought the RFP up, I was told, why are we bringing this up for RFP? Because why are we RFP in financial services? And that literally, the tone changed within like a month of a meeting. And I can pull minutes and show that. And so I just want to make sure that my office is being provided clear direction of what to do and what to present to you all, because I don't want drawn out debate or discussion. I want it to be a decision where we are able to talk about it, and it's something that the commission wants me to do.
Right,
Madam
Madam
Vice
Chair.
Mayor. Oh, go ahead.
Right, and that was pretty much my, me bringing up the point, the reasoning. You brought the RFP, you threw the option out there. I think we all would like to see, the department come up to speed internally and without having an outside process. However, that wasn't the recommendation that was given. And with that, if RFP, in your professional opinion, is the best way to move forward, Mr. Manager, then, that's the recommendation. We just have to decide as a board from there.
Can I, if you don't mind, okay. Mr. Manager, so I do hear Commissioner Burke and Commissioner Davis. I myself is also on the fence with the outsourcing. I can tell you that I do believe, as a resident, and all of us being residents on this dais, that we should have our own building and licensing, and we should have our own departments, because this is the residents pay for those services, and permits clearly would come faster if we had our own building and licensing and instead of something on the outside. However, if we continue to maintain what we do have, my question, I guess, to you, Mr. Manager, is how are we then solving those internal fixtures that are broken? How, from the manager's office, if we're saying building and licensing and code enforcement, and these are, departments that have some fractures, what then is the process? Because now it seems to me like if we don't want to tackle this big issue, so let's just give it to something else larger to tackle it for us. But I just feel like what are we doing to tackle those issues and those fractures?
So, Madam Vice Mayor, I would kind of beg to differ to a point where I've seen building licensing and code enforcement operations handled in other cities, and processes could be, if not the same speed, if not faster, being outsourced. I mean, like I said, Miami Gardens has their operations done, and their services aren't reduced. I mean, and then we're talking about cities large as Miami Gardens is concerned. I'm not trying to say throw the baby out with the bathwater. What I'm stating is, if there is true operational deficiencies, and we speak on issues with recruitment, issues in bringing in certified personnel to do the job, and I'm able to deal with a contractor or a outsourcing agent that has 100 building officials or dozens of building officials and dozens of code enforcement inspectors, and they're able to move around between their contracts, especially when you have nearby cities that are utilizing these contracts. I don't see an issue of a drop of efficiency. I see an increase of efficiency, to be perfectly honest with you, unless we do a case study here. I don't see the city enter into a contract with a firm where I, per se, are going to enter into a contract where efficiencies drop tremendously. I'm going to look for efficiencies to raise. I am going to look at There's performance standards that are in these contracts that we enter into, you know, with these entities. So like I said, there are various different avenues to look at it. And again, Miami Gardens, Hialeah may have a issue, may have had an issue with building licensing and code, may have. I know Miami Gardens did not, and they just decided to go into a realm where they wanted to outsource. I mean, different cities do it for different reasons. I'm just saying with the recent issues that came about, issues that existed prior to me being here, and then looking at a code enforcement assessment that the commission asked me to personally do, that was done, looking at a building and licensing inquiry that was done through Durham, based on information that was released by my office upon becoming city manager, and looking at a consent decree that we just had to enter into due to licensing and building and licensures of businesses, licensing that went out without Durham's approval, and it going ongoing issue with building and licensing saying they need more employees in their licensing section, and looking at personnel costs as they continue to raise, because you all are going to ask me, well, if we do keep it, what do we do? Well, I'm going to say add personnel. So next budget year, I'm going to tell Mr. Anthony, let's do a budget projection. Let's get me, you know, several more licensing clerks, and let's get more inspectors, and then our personnel costs are going to go up. Our pension costs are going to go up. And then you guys are going to ask, well, what's the option? Well, maybe potentially outsourcing will save money. There's a couple of ways to look at it. I don't see it as throwing the baby out with the bathwater necessarily, Madam Vice Mayor. I say it's the best option. And honestly, it's what's going to give the best services for our residents, because it's not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. It's what's going to give the best services to our residents possible. And at the end of the day, we voted up, we voted down. My office just works it up. We bring it to you all. And at the end of the day, the government body makes the final decision.
Commissioner Burke.
Madam Vice Mayor, when we were running to sit up here, we didn't go to the people and tell the people we was coming to dismantle your city. We never once said we was coming up here to dismantle the city. Okay, so we have a problem with Parks and Recreation next month. What do? We outsource them? We have a problem with human resources. We outsource human resources. Public Works, we outsource, then we don't have a city. We start talking about outsourcing. I don't think none of us, when we knocked on them doors and we talked to the residents of this city, said that we were coming, we said we wanted change. Okay? But I don't think not one of us came in here. One thing about outsourcing, you lose control. You lose control once you outsource. I mean, if you got a problem in-house, you can take care of that problem. But if you're outsourced, if you outsource, you lose control. Then what we do? In 6 months, then we outsource the police department. Okay? The problem is we have departments in this city that have not been taking responsibility. We've had departments in this city who have cost this city millions of dollars, but it was never investigated and nothing happened. And this city has always, they say building a license costs consent. This city has always been under consent decree with Durham. This didn't just happen with building a license. This city has always been under consent decrees with Durham. But the city manager says, hey, the employees won't lose their jobs. We gave our water department to Dade County. The first thing we got rid of was our garbage department. Okay, so we said we're gonna get rid of the garbage department for a couple of years and we're gonna bring it back. Did it ever come back in-house? No. Then we gave our water department to Miami-Dade County. So if we keep outsourcing and getting rid of departments, we might as well go ahead and, get rid of the city. But I'm just saying, I never told, when I ran for commission, I never told anybody I was coming to dismantle their city. Thank you.
Madam Vice Chair.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. You're absolutely right, Commissioner, we didn't. But one thing I did promise was efficient and effective and respectful service delivery, which has never, in my opinion, been to the standards that our community deserve. And, while I'm not a big fan of outsourcing, I do realize that governing by network or contract, does present certain assurances, right? Because it is ultimately an agreement. And in my opinion, I don't know. I mean, there needs to be accountability in the city. And I think that's the bottom line. That's what our residents want, whether it's a in-house, building department or outsourcing department. I hear the concerns about, outsourcing and everything. And I mean, look at our water. Our water has been better. We don't receive as many complaints since Miami-Dade County took over. We don't. I'm a paying customer. I live in the community. I get the complaints, just like the four of you sitting up here. So outsourcing, I'll push back and say outsourcing, it does have its advantages. And just like you manage employees, it's the same thing. You manage through the contract. That's why an agreement is usually profit. It's the same thing. But like the manager said, is cheaper. You don't have to pay pensions. You don't have to take on a lot of the overhead that it will ultimately cost to, bring on new employees and significantly expand the department. And and I hear them on that. So to be honest, I'll be in favor of any option that provides professional, respectful, effective, and efficient service delivery. Because no matter who provides the service, this city was chartered to provide services, and we're in the service delivery business. And there should be a certain quality that is provided to our residents. And whether that's provided in-house or outsourced, that still remains. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we've, Mr. Manager, this may be something in a workshop setting or something that we can discuss at a later date. I know Commissioner Taylor is watching his watch. I would like to say, however, that we are one of the last cities in this area that uses paper and pencil in building and licensing, like not even in any type of database. And I just think I no digital records, no fact checking, no way of accounting for any. That's a problem. And I'm sorry, but there has to be something that, the city manager's office can do to change that so that we can, so we can update how we operate. And I guess, I'm not gonna beat that dead horse, but that right there is just, I don't get it. So, and this is someone that recently pulled a permit myself. So anyway, but thank you. We will discuss this matter. It looks like we could go on and on, but we'll table it for now.
Motion adjourned.
No, sir. No, sir. They told me 9 o'clock. It's not my fault. Y'all see, I've been quiet. Blame that on Commissioner Davis and Burke. I do, however, during the city manager's report, would like to call your attention to the commission. I placed the city manager's evaluation form on your desk. And I wanted to actually go through it because I know a few months back, I believe it was March, we had this discussion and the manager agreed to amend the contract. So I did want to have the discussion. I did take the liberty of going through and having and going through all the other evaluations that I sent earlier to for us to actually review this one and see if we can approve it tonight with the city manager's approval. Any discussion?
Respectfully, Vice Mayor, we just received it tonight, so we really didn't have any time to like.
What technically this has been given, this is actually the third time. This was given the first time during the priorities meeting.
Maybe I didn't check the email. I'm not gonna blame nobody, but maybe it was my fault. But can we table this?
Well, I just want you to know because we haven't been able to have this discussion. We can. I would like to know if the amendment was signed, Madam Clerk.
No, ma'am. It has not been signed.
Has not, Mr. Manager?
I don't think this is the place to have that discussion, Madam Vice Mayor. I don't think this is the forum to have the discussion in regards to me signing the amendment to my contract. I don't think this is the appropriate forum.
Okay. It'll come back. Thank you.
Motion adjourned.
No, we gotta finish. Are there any official board reports?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any future agenda items? Okay. Any mayor and commission reports?
Vice Mayor, really quick.
Yes.
Two things. One, I just want to congratulate the parks on a job well done on this afternoon for the seniors picnic. It was great and awesome. And also I want to say, in this current climate, I also want to congratulate our police department. Even though you don't get enough credit, but crime, we have to state the fact that crime is actually down in Opa-locka. We may want us to say more and do more, but I would like to say thank you because crime is actually down in Opa-locka. The other thing that I also wanted to, another idea that I had, I wanted to bring forth the Citizens Academy, the Citizens Academy, which will build positive relationship and increase communication between government, police, and the citizens. So that's all for my report.
Okay. Madam Vice Mayor, sorry.
Commissioner Davis.
Thank you. So on July 12th, I'll be participating in a walking one stop with Mr. Wayne Rawlins in a violence reduction partnership to pretty much bring social services to the doors of our residents. I'm very excited to partner with Mr. Rawlins. He has done partner with our police department to do outreach in the city in prior years. Former Commissioner Kelly hosting the event. So very excited to have him revisit the city and coordinate much needed referral services from Miami-Dade County as we look for options to put a dent in some of the violence and criminal activity in our community. In addition to that, I think Commissioner Taylor's idea of the Citizens Academy is very important and well needed here in the city. I, for one, partnered with the Ethics Commission in 2016 to do just that, where the Ethics Commission brought much needed resources to the city. And actually, I think Vice Mayor Williams was a graduate of that academy, and myself as well. So I'm very excited to see Commissioner Taylor take the lead on that and ensure that that we are reaching out to our residents and building future leadership. So thank you, Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you. We have a few board appointments.
Madam Vice Mayor?
Yes.
Before you move forth with the official board appointments, I need direction from the commission. We have several pending workshops and I have only received 3 confirmations for each of those workshops. So my question is, do we want to move forth with just 3 in attendance, or is the intent to have everyone in attendance at those workshops?
Is this the priorities?
One is the City Commission Priorities Workshop.
Okay.
And I did receive 3 confirmations, but I have not received 5 confirmations from everyone.
What date was that for?
For the week, I think the manager was available the week of June 21st. Is that still a good date, Mr. Manager? And I do apologize, I have to bring it here, but I'm not getting the responses that I need to be able to move forth with scheduling.
Okay, well, yeah, let's move forward.
And then, okay, so it's okay if we only
It was
have,
the week of June 21st through the 20th. Well, there's no specific date, right?
yeah, so there's no specific
It's-
date, and ideally I ask for the availability for the entire week.
Mhm.
So that way I can set a date that's good for everyone.
Continuation from the last workshop for the,
Yes,
can we do it, the 23rd was the commission meeting night at 6?
I'm sorry?
Can we do it on the, I'm saying, asking, can we do it on the 23rd?
I mean, you all can agree on a
Which is
date
probably
up
gonna have to come
here.
back twice.
That will make my life so much easier.
I mean,
It's not
I'm open. I have an open
I just
availability,
literally-
but
Just
I
send
would
me
rather
the
do it
date.
on the
So-
23rd.
Madam
I'm
Clerk,
sorry,
I'm out of state.
Mr.
So
Manager.
I'm
I-
open.
you're
the
good.
23rd is literally locked down and we're in PBA negotiations that afternoon. We just literally just locked this down. That's the city.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
We're looking at, so we have PBA negotiations scheduled for that day unless the city attorney wants to work. It's gonna be a long day
Unless
for,
I want to do what?
this is gonna be a long day for us. So we just locked down PBA negotiations yesterday for that date. So, and it's going into 5 o'clock, 4:30 timeframe.
Please, it doesn't matter.
It's
to
fine with me.
So
Yeah, it's just-
I'll be working. It doesn't matter.
What time are you saying
Yeah,
that
We
meeting
can do
is?
5:30. We can do 5:30 that day.
5:30, okay. 5:30, June 23rd.
June
The
21st?
Wednesday, you said the Wednesday, correct?
Oh,
Commissioner
23rd.
Workshop.
For the workshop, the 23rd,
5:30.
5:30.
Just keep in mind, that's the date of our commission meeting.
Yeah.
So, you know, you'll have like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Okay. And
These people
also,
talk a lot. Mhm.
the city
I'm just gonna-
manager proposed a second workshop for July 7th at 5:30, and that's to discuss the union contracts.
When is that one?
July 7th at 5:30.
That's fine.
Good.
So I'm good with posting both of those, correct? Okay.
Thank you. Okay, back to our board appointments. Uh,
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I would like to put a motion on the floor to appoint Nikisha Williams to the Applied Board of Historic Environmental Preservation.
okay. There's a motion on the floor.
I second it.
Second by Commissioner Taylor. You have to roll call this. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burke,
Yeah.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
And Vice Mayor, I see I have an appointment for Housing Authority. I think the only application we have is for Florabella,
Yes.
right? So I want to appoint her to the housing.
Okay, we have a motion to appoint Florabella Wright to the Housing Authority and Nuisance Abatement Board. Do you have a second?
Second, I second that motion.
Second the motion by Commissioner Davis. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yeah.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. And just for clarification, the board application from Dorothy Johnson, former Commissioner Dorothy Johnson. Initially, she selected planning and zoning, but we have one vacancy on that board, and it's only for an individual with professional background. So we have already filled all the slots for the residents. So she's interested in serving on the Community Relations Board, which there is one at-large appointment on that board.
Can we appoint her tonight?
Yeah. You want to put the motion on the
Yeah, I
floor?
motion
Yeah.
to appoint her on, you said the Communications Board?
Yes.
Yeah, I second.
Community Relations, yeah.
Community
Community
Relations.
That's
Relations.
fine.
All right, I second the motion.
Okay, the motion was passed by, motion was placed by Commissioner Taylor and second by Commissioner Davis. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay. If there's nothing else, this meeting is adjourned.